draft. We're ready and raring to get this one underway. Lance is going to be banned, Grace will follow, and Krull as a first pick for TSM.
Yeah, this is a very interesting. They already switched up their draft. They actually banned Krull all 3 games yesterday on the second phase of the ban. So they're actually first picking the Krull. That will give Immortals the cap, and that's why they banned the Lance, because Lance is such a good counter into Krull.
And look at the amount of captains that have been taken off the board already. Lance, Lyra, Catherine, and Grace all removed. There's Batiste gone as well. TSM, they're running out of available picks.
Yeah, and Immortals now have the opportunity to grab an Idris if they'd like, with the Catherine on their side already. I mean, they don't even need to grab it here, though, because with having Catherine, it's not likely that Team Solo Mid would be looking to grab an Idris. So they're going to grab themselves Glaive, another one of those hard engaged type of heroes that's going to be roaming the jungle.
Wow, I mean, a lot of potential captains have been taken off the map too. Batiste could be played as captain, Glaive could be taken as captain. So this leaves TSM with an option to go with potentially Celeste, Finn, or Arden. You know, there's not a lot of captains left. Or they could try something innovative with Fortress.
I was going to say Fortress could have been an option with the Krull, but it is going to be Arden locked on in. This is something we've seen the North American teams really start to pick up here at this championship. And TSM going to be happy to go with that one alongside Von C's Krull. And now they've got to pick their laner. Celeste still available, Scarf as well. There's a lot of different directions they can go here.
Yeah, I feel like they have to go either Celeste or Scarf. Obviously, you know, you would like to get an Idris because of how strong he is, but you don't want to run that into a Glaive Catherine. Maybe the Scarf, I think, would be the best option because he has a little bit of extra ability to keep himself alive,
Celeste.
but they're going to run the Celeste.
That's pretty smart because giving Celeste to Immortals with a Glaive and Catherine, that's a triple stun combination. So I think Immortals here will probably go with a Scarf, potentially. They can also go with a CP Idris, but I think Scarf looks exceptionally good right now given the composition of TSM.
Yeah, and you can see TSM kind of going for one of these lock-up compositions. You don't have as much CC with the Arden, but certainly the Krull and the Celeste, you can chain those stuns together, and if you can land a good gauntlet, you can turn it into more.
Or is there a chance that Immortals ends up going with the Adagio? No, there isn't, because they're going to grab the Scarf. It was a thought, you know, Dienzio looked so good with it the other day. But the Scarf is another one of Dienzio's sort of signature picks when it comes to live events.
And maybe keeping that Adagio in his pocket for later. We'll have to wait and see as the day goes on. But we have the Celeste versus Scarf matchup. I feel like this matchup has been kind of the pinnacle of lane matchups across the course of this weekend. And it feels like a very even matchup and very much a skill-based matchup.
Yeah, for sure. And this is something that TSM needs to overcome because when they faced Zeo Scarf at Worlds, he took 2 games off them. So this is something, have they adapted now? It's been a while since Worlds, but it'd be very interesting to see how they adapted to Scarf here.
All right, well, we'll see how they're going to be able to adapt. It's time to get our semi-finals underway. It's time for TSM going up into Immortals.
The moment has arrived, Fuji. Immortals versus TSM. I have been looking forward to this one.
I mean, I don't even have words to describe this. We got to cast Immortals yesterday. We get to do it again and against the #1 seed, the one everyone thinks is going to take us home.
All right, well, we are quickly right into the fold and ready to go. We have a couple powerhouse compositions, a couple powerhouse teams, mind, body, and soul. I am ready to go.
I'm really excited to see Dienzio on this Scarf again. This was such a power pick for them yesterday. It was almost just the matchup of the mages, but we are going to see it here too with TSM picking up the Celeste. We have 2 front lines on each team. This is going to be wild.
Yeah, it's interesting to see Zeo Max Green moving over here early on. T-Taiga should move in with a level advantage at any point, and they'll have to be careful about that. Best Chuck Flash X playing this one careful as Von C just takes a nice safe rotation of his own.
Yeah, they definitely do need to be careful. We see Flash starting with the Protector contract, Dragon Blood on Max Green, so a little bit of a different variation in starting strategy here. There isn't going to be a lot of healing coming out of Immortals, so any damage that comes down from TSM, any major blow is going to force them back to shop. Or they're going to have to get this
starting
Elder.
up the Elder Tree, and he's going to sniff out the rotation down here. It looks like T-Tigers will pull it back to his own side. Will this be our actual first skirmish down in the jungle? Both of these teams playing a little bit of games. Max Green moves with the stun. The Vanguard comes out onto Von C. Couple weakness stacks starting to come out. Yeah, a lot of Dragon Blood contract damage. Von C, he's gonna go down. This is gonna be actually going to Max Green. First blood for Immortals.
Oh my goodness, you cannot go in that far. Too much damage from the Elder Treant. Max Treant is going to get chased back down into the jungle to go just to make sure they secure this. Really huge pickup here for Immortals. Unfortunately, first gold does go over to Max Green, but that's okay. We're going to get that fountain faster, Humanist. We're going to make things work out.
Hey, with a player like Max Green, I think I'm okay with the gold going over his way. Now, Fuji, correct me if I'm wrong, is this the first Protector contract we've seen in this championship?
I honestly believe that we've only seen it once before, but the effectiveness of the Protector contract with Arden is actually quite... Like, the way you work it out is you want to make sure you alternate it with your Vanguard, so you keep as much barrier up as often as possible, but we talked about it, there's not a lot of healing coming out from either team, so we don't have Lyra sustain, we don't have Adagio, there's no Grace. So a lot of these moves these guys are going to be making early game, they need to be quick, they need to be decisive, or they're going to end up getting pushed out of the lane, and they might lose a turret because of it.
I mean, I think it's actually really interesting with the Kroll as well, with the Dead Man's Rush in there, getting a little bit of barrier for himself. That's really cool.
Yeah, barrier everywhere, all around. Vanguards can be saved for Celeste, most likely, if they're on the peel path. Otherwise, if Kroll's going in, the Vanguard will certainly help him stick to his target. But we'll have to find out quickly who their focus is going to be.
Ooh, a sneaky T-Tigers finds the Afterburn, and that's Von C getting erased out of the fold right there. Immortals up 2-0.
You cannot just solo pull Elder if you do not have the ability to get out. He actually didn't have rotation priority either. Immortals able to come down while TSM is stuck in the lane as a 3v1 rotation, in fact. Questionable for TSM. We applaud them a lot for their map awareness, their ability to hold their own side, but if they're getting pushed out of lane, somebody's got to tell Von C, get out of there, man.
Yeah, definitely. And once again, we saw Flash X. We see that scout trap right below him there. That is kind of showing when the rotations happen, but it wasn't revealing what's happening in the brush. Now, we see Celeste stunned up, Best Chuck taking a lot of damage, but the Vanguard keeping him in fighting shape.
Yeah, the Dragon Blood damage proc is quite a lot, but no one to really finish him off. C says, hello T-Tigers, this is my brush.
Hello, I am here. I am ready to start taking you down. Gonna be stunned up. Max doing a good job. Von C Afterburn, a lot of damage. Dragon Blood contract, propped up. Flash X, is he gonna be caught as well? Immortals, seemingly, you can't stop these guys early on here.
I mean, we're seeing the strength we always talk about with this Catherine being able to instantly stun on demand. Reflex blocks are not out. You cannot stop the stun. The lockdown on top of the goop comboed with the afterburn into the wall. Even Kroll cannot survive that scenario.
Do you think this is more of a decision-making thing out of Von C? Is he waiting to itemize where he can actually start to deal with that?
I actually think it's just more of a matter of he's just being too aggressive. They have a scaling carry in Celeste, and right now Flash X feels like he has to protect Best Chuck, right? He's got to stay in the lane. The pressure coming out, the potential afterburn ganks coming out is forcing a lot of attention up in lane. Von C cannot afford to keep pushing in this deep, to keep putting himself in positions so dangerous.
Now, some nice scout traps down from Max will reveal exactly how Von C is rotating through the jungle right now. He's actually on the front of Immortals, and T-Tigers is going to sniff this out. I don't know if he wants to play games or move up into the lane. He's actually scouted out Von C, empowered. These guys just kind of poking back and forth. They are so similar in their play style.
They really are. I love the fact Von C is willing to go into the brush to get the empower.
Yeah.
He's just staring T-Tigers in the eyes.
It really was like, who's going to blink first?
Yes, exactly. There was a bit of a level advantage at the time. T-Tigers was level 6, but obviously the one-on-one, everyone knows Kroll is king of that scenario.
We'll see how this Kroll can have an impact in the game as we start to move on. Now, Von C does have his ultimate available. That's a big power spike for him. Are you seeing any other power spikes across the map that we should keep our eyes on?
I mean, we definitely want to keep an eye on this tension bow finish coming out of Von C. Frostburn's been completed, so that's going to help a lot with slowing down the ability for Scarf to escape the gauntlet that will be coming out fairly soon in a few minutes as well. I like the idea with the core collapse being able to drop, the gauntlet coming down, and from Hell's Heart, we're going to actually see quite a lot of momentum going towards that backline of Immortals. T-Tigers got to shake it up though. He's going to have to get in with the afterburn and make sure DNZO doesn't get popped.
Let's see if Von C is waiting to potentially throw an ultimate. There are reflex blocks out. Max walks right into the brush, starts to get lit up with the afterburn on to Best Chuck. Best Chuck turns it around with the core collapse of his own. T-Tigers taking a lot of damage, takes us down. TSM finding a kill, getting themselves on the board.
That is the counter gank you need to set up. It's not always about making the first move, it's about making the right move. TSM says, you know what, we're gonna look for this afterburn. We feel T-Tigers is there. They might have actually caught vision of him going into the top brush. Hell's Heart comes out, locks down Glade, we get the core collapse we talked about, and that's kill over to TSM.
I really like that there. And did T-Tigers actually have his own reflex block? I know Max and Dienzio did.
He does now.
He does now. I guess that's the important thing. Lesson learned.
Lesson learned. Yeah, unfortunately not available to be able to lock out of that CC, but ability power spike, something we don't always talk about too often, focused on items, are coming up as well. Team-wide silence coming out of Max Green. Oh,
Afterburn stuck against the turret there. Best shot taking a whole bunch of damage. He's down. Flash couldn't keep him alive with the Vanguard there, and the Fountain's still ticking down. It's going to be coming up just right now, and that really hurts to see.
That must have been a timing thing from Immortals. They used Fountain at the same time during the last team fight. Flash, you got to get out of there, buddy.
Uh-oh, Flash, you are in a tough place. Von C will make the rotation up, down from the jungle here. He's going to clear up some of these lane minions for himself. I'm sure he likes that, but Best Chuck kind of feels bad, man.
Oh, I love the fact that Flash X knew he was able to stay in front of the turret. If he had left, if he was too afraid to defend, they would have taken the objective hands down, but that was just enough to stall, move the minion damage over to Arden instead of the turret as well, and that distraction that saves the first objective. So nothing major gained, even though Immortals is in the lead. They have quite a bit of gold lead for almost 8 minutes in, but both turrets still stand. The teams are still playing quite safe.
Fuji, I want you to break down for us the kind of difference in the itemization coming out of Best Chuck versus Dienzio. We see the Eve into the Broken Myth here. On the flip side, he's got the Frostburn for himself going into the Eve.
Yeah, I don't feel like Dienzio right now feels like he wants to have that slow. He just wants to be able to sustain as long as possible. We hit on it before, right? There is no sustain coming from Immortals, so the Eve is the closest thing he's going to be able to get to be in the lane, to not have to go home. He has the energy regen, he has the ability to get lifesteal on those goop pulls during the team fight. So I like the pickup. Broken Myth is finished now, so at this point it's just a preference a lot of times for what they go afterwards. Shatterglass for a lot of damage, Frostburn for slow. We'll have to see what he decides to do. I imagine Clockwork is a guaranteed item at some point.
Yeah, it probably is going to be coming out for sure as we approach the late game. Von C, we see him level 9 now, kind of getting himself powered up with the left tri-brush there. As Immortals start to apply a little bit of pressure here in the lane. Von C will move up. T-Tiger sees it. The Gauntlet's going to come down, blocked off by Zio. But a two-man stun as they walk right into the wall. Max Green able to block off the core collapse as Immortals just go ahead and walk right out of that one.
I'm actually a little bit confused why Von C did not throw it. Well, he's just going to stick around and hold on here a little bit. But he had an opportunity when the Gauntlet came down because of the angle that he was walking up. He could have thrown from Hell's Heart beyond the Gauntlet wall on the other side of the team and walked behind them, so it would have ran into the Gauntlet wall and they would have had a maximum duration stun. So perhaps he's being a little bit too defensive holding that ability. The cooldown's not really long enough to want to not use it as soon as it's available.
Yeah, I could see though potentially being a little bit behind in the game, and not much, right? But maybe just you want to have that perfect throw on the ultimate, but that can definitely hurt you.
It can hurt you, but the burst coming out of Von C, because Dienzio does not have any armor, as well as T-Tigers being under-farmed by comparison in CS, actually equates his ability to be effective in that specific moment. But yes, in a team fight versus team fight, TSM still needs to be careful in that 3v3 setup.
I'm looking at Flash X. He's got his Crucible up now. And on the flip side, Max Green has his own. He has that Blast Tremor ready to go, and I think that's a huge tool. As long as Max can get that down, it looks like he could be going into Echo as his next item, which wouldn't be a surprise at all and be a huge pickup for them, actually. These guys really starting to try and take a fight here.
Ooh, turrets on the burn in the back there. Barrier is going to come back up to save it, though, but whoa, here we go.
It's actually reflex a little bit too late. Zio getting lit up here. Von C moves in. He wants Zio. He's going to find him. Solar Storm let loose. And Immortals, they're going to lose their carry.
Yeah, you got to block from Hell's Heart. You have to be preemptive, expect it. If you do not block it, there's so much follow-up CC available from TSM. I like the fact they pulled the trigger. They did not have Gauntlet available, but they still feel confident.
Another afterburn in. Best Chuck, he gets the Vanguard. Should keep him alive just enough to move back. Think Flash X later for that one, buddy. Max Green doing his best. I mean, I thought Best Chuck was dead on that one.
I did too, but I love the fact that Von C is like, guys, come on, chill out. I'm taking the gold mine. We want the payout here. We want to equate this gold to difference the best we can. But now we're at 1,000 gold difference game, Humanist. Things are looking a lot better for TSM, using the patience, using that from Hell's Heart to grab the kill. This is the TSM we were expecting to show up after a little bit of a rough start.
Cool, calm, and collected. That's going to be the turret going down, though. Zio doing a very good job just to get those Spitfires in consistently.
Yeah, I definitely want to give props to Zeo on that, but of course I have to question why Von C is invading the jungle when your first turret objective is so close to going down. Honestly, it's not worth it. Let them take their own treant, but protect your first objective. TSM doesn't have any damage on the first turret, so they have a lot of momentum they're going to have to push back to be able to get map advantage.
How does this change the game for TSM now?
In a big way, it makes it so the fact that they cannot have Celeste safely farming forward. It makes their rotation slower. She doesn't have any movement abilities other than a boot active and just walking herself. So to get to a team fight, she's now going to be further away from that point of safety. Makes it a little bit scary considering all the lockdown. And we saw what T-Tigers was able to do with afterburn rotations yesterday.
Right.
So if he can get those off today on Celeste in the same way, that's a tough spot for TSM.
I think it also means, you know, vision, it becomes increasingly more important. FlashX only holding flares because of that protector contract. He doesn't have a slot to actually put scout traps in right now. Von C eating some Spitfires, body blocking for Best Chuck, making his way up to the top rush there. Max throwing flares of his own, making sure that they're not going to be caught by surprise.
Stun lands.
Getting a little stun there. The Spitfire, nice afterburn. The Gauntlet is down. Best Chuck, he is going to be able to get away, but Zeo channels up that Dragon's Breath, burning Von C down. Von C's in. It's going to be Best Chuck finding the first kill. Max, he's got clean to stack. They turn it. They take Von C down. A nice flash shimmer. A nice silence coming through. Flash on the run. Flash should be dying here. He gets that Vanguard the goop, but it's not going to be burning. Another Spitfire. Max doing his best, but it's not enough. Best Chuck lighting them up, and Helio cleans them up. Best Chuck in A, making the Clockwork go to town. Zeo, you're in a bad place, my friend. Rest in peace, double kill coming through. Best Chuck turning up.
Best Chuck with the quick feet, sidestepping the goop pull so he doesn't get immediately deleted. This is a game of maximums, minimums. I can't believe how close that team fight was. Chuck almost died right off of the bat. We see the afterburn we were looking for, but they just weren't able to follow up on the kill. Like, look at that health bar.
Oh my goodness.
One other hit would have gone in. The first silent goes out successfully here, but then the Max Ring gets the echo off, gets the second silence in, which you can see TSM was perhaps not quite ready for, going on the back foot here. This honestly looked really dire for TSM, but props to Best Chuck for being able to stay in the fight, drop Helios, get the core collapse down. Even the block was not quite enough to take FlashX down in this replay.
A whole bunch of damage starting to come out of the Celeste right now. We see Best Chuck moving in towards that Broken Myth now. He's going to have this up in the next couple minutes here. It's going to get even more dangerous for Immortals. Immortals have a lot of damage of their own.
Yeah, we see the Clockwork finishes on both of the mages. This is essentially Mage Wars right now that we're watching. Mage Wars inside of Vainglory. I love this, though. What is it? It's just Helios and Spitfires, Helios and Spitfires. Everyone's trying to dodge every skill shot. And you see the front lines of each team. They're just trying to decide, when do we go in? What is our execution point?
There's the War Treads, the Gauntlet. That's when you go. Zeo, he winds up with the Dragon's Breath. Let's see if they can block off the damage right here. Everybody taking a whole bunch of damage, but Zeo, you're in a bad place. This is Von C trying to stick right onto the Scarf. A lot of weakness stacks are up. It's Chuck doing his best. He survives. He gets away from T-Tigers. T-Tigers in with the afterburn.
On the scout trap.
A scout trap cleaning up the kill. And Max Green should be left for dead. He's going to use his boots to try and juke out of this one, but I don't think you actually get away from Von C at this point. There's the stun. T-Tigers, the afterburn. They got away. Making the plays now. Tiggs, I know you want to defend that Crystal Sentry, but they make the call not to go in there.
Yeah, he has to go back. He doesn't have enough energy to combo Afterburn with anything else.
Von C, Flash hanging around here. They move in. Tiggs taking a whole bunch of damage, has the Afterburn. He's going to be okay.
Yeah, he picks up that Treant, gets enough energy to get out of there, but wow, what a Max. Max Green just giving the stun out on Von C. Stacks the green, making it work here at 25, Captain the Guard. You know what I love about this team fight, though, is we saw TSM's focus. Kill the Dragon, kill Scarf, kill D'Enzio. He has to go down no matter what. In fact, T-Tigers was just auto-attacking Celeste in the back for half of the team fight. Chuck just didn't care. They knew they have to take the Scarf down or else they lose the team fight. But props for T-Tigers finding the kill anyway, using the scout trap to that advantage, and picking up the kill on Best Chuck.
You know, of course TSM are going to adapt to whatever Immortals do, but it does make me feel that Tiggs has the potential to build into a little bit more offense if they're focusing Zeo down so much in these fights.
Yeah, I definitely think this is true, but you know that he's not going to, right? Like, he's going to finish his Aegis, he's going to upgrade his boots, and he's going to say, team, you have to protect me. We have Catherine, you've got to lock them down. We have Echo. In fact, perhaps it's even best to just Echo, Merciless Pursuit, get 2 stuns on top of the goop. That's the dream.
Oh my goodness, that is a dirty, dirty play if they can pull that one off. Immortals doing a good job thus far. We're 6-6, 16 minutes in. This one is so close. Vaughn C, he's empowered in the bottom brush there. Had to slow on to take some first. Blast Trimmer is going to come through. I believe he echoed it off the afterburn. A nice stun. They cancel on the gauntlet from Hill's Heart. Will land on the T-Tigers, but it's Vaughn C onto the DNZO. Solar Truck connects on the T-Tigers. The fountain comes out. Second Blast Trimmer silences up Vaughn C. The chase is on. DNZO dropping low, takes over the wall. They block off the afterburn. Crystal Sentry's in the fight. He wants up. Spitfire's out. Oh, the Dragon's Breath. Dry broken miss. Stacks just burning TSM down. And it looks like that's all they're going to go for, but Immortals winning a fight that TSM had engaged on.
Humanist, we only had one death in that entire team fight. That's insane. The way these teams are playing, they're actually using every ability to its maximum potential. The first Blast Trimmer going off, getting the stun, canceling out the this gauntlet would have landed right on top of Zio. Would have been perfect for the entire team, for Immortals to be locked down. But Vaughn C, super hungry for the kill here. I have to question, though, they could have called him back. They could have immediately taken T-Tigers down, but instead, they're going for the kill on Scarf, not able to get it, even with the Vanguard and the turnaround here. DNZO having Dragon's Breath still available. TSM not quite calculating this. They're able to take down Kroll. They're able to take down, well, Best Chuck. That core collapse right there. Not really going to land them anything, but the nerves are up even for these teams.
This is incredibly close. I mean, we're approximately 18 minutes into this one. Look at the net worth. I mean, this is so close. This could really go either way. We knew coming into this one, of course, TSM would be one of the top teams. A lot of expectations for Immortals to come out and perform. I think after seeing them day one, day two, we knew that they were going to stack up well. But this is closer than I think a lot of people imagined.
Speaking of stacks, I have to say that the decisive nature of these team fights has to be impeccably on point. You cannot let one mage get too much poke. Because when Broken Myth starts stacking up, they immediately start getting an advantage. So there has to be either an immediate engage or an immediate retreat. We can already see, like Best Chuck, he's at 3, DNZO's at 0. Immortals makes the call to back up.
I think it's really interesting. I don't know if we touched on this. The Aegis out of Flash X as well as the Crucible. Do you like that?
I like it. I mean, Flash X is going to be trying to frontline a lot of the damage from the Scarf. He's going to need that shielding to stay alive, especially since Scarf is now finished Frostburn as well. 4-item offensive on both mages. This is exactly where they want to be. 18 minutes into the game. This feels a little bit like a flashback for Immortals yesterday. This is where they turned it up. This is where they took the games every single time to take the series. If they're going to be able to repeat it here today, I bet we'll see something here very soon. Kraken on the board. No one's really tried anything around it yet, but wow, these teams, they're just playing out of their minds.
I mean, this is the call right now. We also see Vaughn C has a reflex and an Aegis of his own. Gauntlet down from Flash. Nice job. He used his Aegis so he wasn't canceled off. Blast Trimmer's going to come down. I believe they blocked that one off, though. Zio was trapped inside the Gauntlet, but they did such a good job to protect him there.
Wow, the engage was good, but the disengage was also well done. The Blast Trimmer is still available. It was echoed, so they have to be careful about this. TSM
from Hell's Heart's going to connect on to Max Green. I don't know if they should actually go into the engage. This is going to be Vaughn C overstepping himself, taking too much damage. The Fountain did come out to keep him alive, but he's critting down. Zio able to find the kill. Now Dragon's Breath roasting TSM. A double kill. Coming through. A triple kill. DNZO.
We talked about it. Let's go, boys. Right now is when Immortals made the play yesterday. They make the plays again. They take advantage of what seemingly was just a really bad shot call coming from TSM. From Hell's Heart, yes, it landed, but not on a target that's meaningful for you to try to take down. Vaughn C going in to try to follow up on that.
His team too far behind as well, right?
Yeah, I mean, you're too far behind in terms of distance.
Yeah,
even. Like, I mean, Vaughn C is just like, he hits the boots, he goes in, he goes for the back line, but the stun from Max Green just locking him down. He's not able to actually get to the target he needs to.
Okay.
Here comes the still attempt.
Solar Storm coming through. Of course, we all wanted to see it. But how does this change things for TSM? How do they have to play this out, this defense here?
I mean, the defense is so tough. So Celeste, she's one of the best at defending during pushes into the base. That being said, Scarf is one of the best objective taking heroes in the game. So with Kraken pushing on the front lines, he can actually safely sit behind, drop Goops underneath the turret, get some safe max distance Spitfires off. He's never really in danger of getting jumped on as long as he doesn't get out of position. So TSM's gonna have to do one of two things. They're gonna make the call. We defend, take Kraken down as much as we can, but without this choke point turret, I really think they have to fight early.
Well, let's see. This is the point where we would see them potentially make an engage if it's going to happen. Flash, what's the call, buddy? Has the gauntlet. He is the captain of this team, making the shot calls. Best Chuck doing his best to apply damage. T-Tigers looking for a window of opportunity. Max lands the first blast. Tremor, he's going to move in, finds the stun onto Flash. Was able to actually echo that. Gauntlet's going to come through. Flash is there. T-Tigers able to afterburn backwards. Zeo kind of caught right there. Found keeping him alive, but it's Vainglory back in. They've taken out the Dragon. Moving in, looking for more. Almost taking T-Tigers down. They get him. Best Chuck coming through, finding the damage. Immortals losing 2. TSM will stay alive here in game 1.
A risky play by Immortals to not expect that engage. It seemed like they were kind of caught off guard by it. The first blast trimmer goes down. They get the silence. Max goes in, stuns them up, but then they need to back up. You have to know that that is the cue for TSM to re-engage. In fact, I'm actually kind of surprised TSM wasn't able to actually just lose straight up. Solar Storm actually went wide. Core Collapse didn't land. We didn't get the best follow-up there from Vainglory either, but the damage was just still too much from these Helios stacking up. I mean, you can see in the team fight, just barely clipping Zeo. Vainglory getting on top of him inside the gauntlet. Zeo able to unescape. So that was just an incredible turnaround play that TSM absolutely needed.
Yeah, I found it really interesting that Zeo chose not to move outside of that gauntlet when they had the Crucible up, and he had his boots active, I believe, as well. But either way, that's a TSM finding a fight, you know, maybe finding a little bit of momentum for themselves. Technically, they are up in net worth right now.
They are up in net worth, and this is one of the risks, is if you push with Kraken and you don't finish the game that far into the base this late, the death timers are long. If they take Kraken, that's 1,500 gold. If they take Turret, that's another 900 gold into the pockets of TSM. So these guys are now feeling much wealthier than they were before. You just saw Max Green. He had a second set of boots there for a moment. Wasn't sure what those were going to be used for, but he sold them off, bought 5 flares. Definitely the best decision he could have made.
Thinking about it. I like the double boots, but hey, Max knows the vision is important. Max moves in. He's going to find the stun onto Vainglory. From Hell's Heart connects on the T-Tigers. Zeo able to get outside of that gauntlet. A defensive afterburn coming from T-Tigers to disengage. Solar Storm not the one they wanted, but the Dragon's Breath coming through. It will start to burn TSM. Immortals chasing, looking for T-Tigers coming in from the bottom. Vainglory powered up. Moving in, he's going to get onto Max Green. Max Green, the target, but they're reflecting a lot of damage and afterburn. Knocks Best Chuck back. The chase is on. Helios there. Helios will come out of Max to keep his team in fighting shape. Zeo doing his best to land these, but he has to be careful of the Heliogenesis, the Supernova from Best Chuck zoning out the Scarf here. Both of these teams just playing so incredibly well. Max wants the stun, but he's playing with fire. Vainglory right back in, gets the Vanguard onto Max. These guys in and out, zigging, zagging, just in and out of these fights. This is beautiful to watch.
I can't. These team fights are absolutely amazing. Everybody's using every ability the best they can. Their actives are on point. They're blocking almost anything that's available to block at the time. We're actually having team fights so long we're getting blocks back up again in order for them to be able to take out something. This core collapse is from Hell's Heart. There's just so many things for these teams to think about, but what an impressive display of engage and disengage coming out of both teams there underneath the turret. TSM playing with a little bit of fire. If they lose a team fight, it's game over.
Yeah, absolutely. GG. We may have the engagement happening right here, right now. Flares are out from both teams. They know what's happening. Max Green, 50 stacks on the captain of the guard. This guy's tanky. Gauntlet's going to come down, blocked off. Zeo able to get back. T-Tigers, one more time, a defensive afterburn. Atlas not landing from TSM the way they would have liked. From Hell's Heart, onto T-Tigers, core collapse. The combo. Tinks is going to go down. Solar Storm ripping through Immortals. Max Green, he's in a tough place, holding his fountain. Has the Echo as well. That's going to be the Storm Guard triggered off Zeo, trying to land the Spitfires. Can he drop a goop as well? Vainglory dropping low. TSM taking 2 here, a massive win here in the late game.
I love the fact that Max Green actually echoed his Storm Guard to try to survive on that escape, just using whatever he can to try to get out of there. But what's most important, the thing we want to watch about this team fight is when Gauntlet went down, yes, T-Tigers was able to escape. Yes, Zeo was able to escape, but what Best Chuck does is he uses the opportunity to stack up his Broken Myth here. He's just getting autos, getting solar, or actually Heliogenesis down on Catherine. Just enough time for them to make the call here to go all in on whatever target's squishy and close. And that Solar Storm just rips through T-Tigers, not able to get out of that one.
I also want to compliment Flash's flare. I mean, it seems so simple, but throwing that flare to make sure that nobody's hiding, waiting in the wings, that's going to catch you by surprise when you move in to engage on your opponent. Really a thing of beauty. It looked like Immortals were about to end this game a couple minutes ago. The script has been flipped. TSM now on the push.
I mean, this is exactly what you can't have happen if you're in the lead, if you're pushing with Kraken and Scarf against another team. But TSM saying they're going to back up a little bit here. They want Kraken to get on top of the turret before they are close. They need to be careful. Flash is going to look for a gauntlet over the wall right here. Perhaps Humanist is going to be their best chance of engage. Here it goes.
Gauntlet over the wall, you called it! Fuji, Flash X locking them down. CO doesn't want to get out of this one. Kraken's still pretty healthy, but this is Immortals looking for a potential engage. T-Tigers finds the afterburn onto Vonsi. Vonsi burning down.
Second
the
blast
Vikings,
tremor.
another blast tremor coming through. Here's your Dragon's Breath. It should burn the Kroll down. It's burning Flash as well. It looks like Immortals are doing this. If they take Flash, odds are this is going to be their game. Best Chuck, can he do it? We have to see the most legendary plays I've ever seen out of this guy here. They block off the Cork left. The Helios are there, but this is going to be TSM dropping to Immortals here in game 1. 26, approximately 27 minutes into this one. Immortals, GG.
When you go in for the big play underneath the turret, you got to have an escape plan. Immortals didn't have theirs. TSM did not have theirs. Each team pays huge. Immortals takes the game.
Immortals takes the game with style. That feels so good for Immortals right now. TSM realizing, okay,